Welcome to Supporting Physician Spouses with Kendra and Katie. I'm Kendra, and today, Katie's moving from co-host to guest. Over the last 15 episodes, you've heard Katie share glimpses of her life in residency with 3 young children. But today you're going to get the full story, how she and her husband Talon started this journey together, what it was like to walk through the match process, the highs and lows of residency, and how her faith, friendships, and perspective have carried her through. If you've ever wondered whether somebody else feels the same exhaustion, hope, and resilience that you do, this is your episode. Welcome, Katie.
Thank you. It does feel uncomfortable in the hot seat.
It's going to be fun, I promise.
Let's do it.
Katie, our listeners have gotten to know both of us over the last dozen or so episodes. This is a chance for them to get to know you just a little bit better. I want you to tell us a little bit about you and your husband, how you met, when you got married. Tell us the story.
Sure. Technically, my husband and I met when we were in elementary school. We were friends in middle school, and then he went to a different high school, and we kind of lost touch. But we reconnected via Facebook, which makes me feel kind of old because that was pre-dating app. He reached out and was like, hey, we should get together sometime. I see we're both in Provo. I was like, great. And he didn't message me back for 2 weeks. I was like, oh, I guess he didn't really mean it. Yeah. And he was like, I just didn't have anything going on. I think it was like a month later, we ended up going out to an MLS soccer game, which was really fun. And that's where we take off. So I was a senior in college, and we ended up getting married at the very end of my year. I graduated on a Wednesday, and we got married on a Friday in August. So that was pretty epic. It felt very me, just to I can do it all just at once, fun.
Of course.
He had 2 more years of his undergrad left because he took 2 years serving a mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So I have been on the medical journey with him since the beginning. I've helped with application cycle. I helped him with drafting personal statements. I cannot imagine not having been a part of everything. He has developed and changed so much through the journey. So when I hear of couples who met maybe after residency, I'm like, how could you not know this individual during that huge transition of time? You know what I mean? So I feel really fortunate, though many times I've been like, I think we should quit. I think you should maybe not continue doing this. And it typically coincides with when we've had a baby.
Yeah.
I'm like,
it's a common theme, I think.
I think we should just quit everything.
You've been there the whole time.
I've been here the whole time.
That's amazing.
And it's really, obviously I'm stuttering over my words because I'm like, it's terrible and beautiful. And it's so many emotions in one, but I wouldn't take the growth away for anything. Good pressure cooker for our relationship because we haven't had time to settle into any bad habits because we need each other for survival. So let's just treat each other well.
That's nice. All right. You did mention something I want to go back to. I know that you are a soccer player. So your husband is also a soccer player?
No.
Oh,
that's funny. He is not a soccer player. He just got his hands on tickets. And at the time I thought, oh, how thoughtful. He knows I played soccer, and that's why we went to the soccer game for our first date. But the mean story gets worse. He's like, actually, you were the second person I had asked out to this game. So that's so funny, but
that is pretty funny.
He was a college athlete. He did the decathlon.
Okay.
His freshman year of college. Yeah, so it's kind of fun to have that similarity of athleticism.
That's too funny. Tell me about your match experience and then how you felt about where you were going to go.
Yeah, so I think the whole interview process for residency was way more fun than we expected. We just weren't sure if we were going to get an interview. The first few that came in were like, oh my gosh, he got an interview. So he ended up interviewing at so many that he was turning them down. And we were like, oh, people like you. I think you're just trained in the medical journey to just expect rejection, and then you're not your expectations won't be crushed. So
Oh.
we had a good solid 5 schools that we were excited about. But the way that match worked was they would send an email. So they would send an email on Monday during match week and just say, you matched. But they don't tell you where until the end of the week. And I think it was the day after my birthday or something. So it was already a fun week. But so that morning, I guess the whole week, I was like, we got to do something more fun than just opening an email. So gender reveals are kind of big right now. And we've actually never done them with our kids. We've chosen with the majority of our kids not to find out until I delivered, which
brave
I would
soul.
highly recommend. It's so fun. It's so fun.
Okay, well, I'm the opposite. It's like,
Yeah.
just knowing makes me feel good.
Yeah. So I was like, what if we fill black balloons with confetti and then we kind of color code our top 5 programs? And then if it's not one of those, then they fill it with black. So we get the results and I go to the balloon store and I was like, I haven't seen this email, but here's the email. If it's not one of these top programs, fill it with black. So we go back. Our whole family is on Zoom, mostly because it was like middle of a work day and we were like, we're not waiting. So we pop the balloon. It's full of black. And I even shared this video on our social media toward the beginning of when we started this a couple months ago, but
we'll pull it back
black. And I was just so thrilled. I do my happy dance. And I'm just like so hyped up, like it's black, like this turn of events in our future.
And you love a surprise.
I love a surprise. Until the reality sets in, I'm like, oh, wait, what's going on? This is really hard. He ended up ranking at his second choice, but the email listed his medical school first. And so the balloon place got confused. It was such a fun day, so thrilling. And we were really excited to move to Washington.
Well, who wouldn't be?
Here we are.
All right. Let's go into residency now. So we figured out how you got there, you and your husband. You've got 3 kids.
Yep.
What were you most afraid of and what were you most excited for?
The thing I was most afraid of was navigating our family without him. Lots. And we moved with my youngest. It just turned 1. And that isn't the youngest, obviously. The first year is really hard, but yeah, I was nervous about managing our family solo. And something I was most excited for was just the adventure of it all. I think there's something in stepping into the unknown, like, okay, just this faith-filled step that it can be a really sensitive period to seeing miracles. And so some of the things I remember right when we moved here were I felt that God prepared people for me. Instantly, I just saw it. A lot of my friends that I've made here are 10 to 15 years older than me, which hasn't really happened to me before. And I've just loved, like, just to be surrounded by these women who are full of wisdom and just so much love and who aren't necessarily on the medical journey themselves. So I just felt like I was witnessing just tender mercies and miracles left and right, whether it be this phenomenon I saw in nature that was just like mind-blowing, smelling the ocean. I was just really sensitive to, like, my senses were heightened. And I think that's probably normal, like a normal human response to a little bit of a stressful situation or a transition.
I think that transition after you matched and before residency is technically when we met the first time.
Yes.
I'm still amazed because not everybody is as proactive as Katie, where they can kind of look ahead and see that this is going to be challenging and that I might need some help or I might need some support. So what do you think led you to take that approach where you're thinking ahead and formulating a plan? Because you already said don't necessarily like planning, but there was a lot of planning for this particular part.
Yeah. I think when it comes to mental planning, I really wanted mental tools to navigate. I already knew it was going to be hard. I already knew I was going to spend more time solo parenting than not. But I've also been in periods during medical school where I was in survival mode. And at that point, I'm like, it's too late. I can't even almost take in any more information.
Yeah.
I was on the internet and I was just trying to find something. And I was on, I think it was the Life Coach School database of coaches. And that's how I ended up finding you.
Oh, I did not know that.
And your profile must have said something about the medical journey for sure. Because I was like, she is a physician's spouse? So that was really exciting. And then turns out on our first call, I even learned that we are of the same faith background. And that was just like cherry on top.
Aw. So we're progressively moving a little bit farther in your journey. Katie's husband is doing family medical residency right now. He's in his final year. And so things are wrapping up. They have their first job. And so we're not going to go quite to the first job yet, but we're going to go kind of looking back. If you had some advice that you could give the younger Katie at the beginning of residency, what would you tell her?
I would probably tell her, you can do hard things. Like, I would almost say, don't worry. But I'm like, it's okay to worry. But like, you've got this, you know? So many cool learnings and experiences are ahead of you, the bad and the good. But it's for your, you can do it.
Okay. What would you tell Katie starting residency? What would you tell her to start and what would you tell her to stop doing?
I'd tell her, that's hard. Because I'm like, am I even doing those now? I'd tell her to start writing down, documenting things to celebrate.
Mm-hmm.
So that there's a focus on the good that's happening, whether it's in her parenting or in her professional life, just to celebrate the good. And then to stop with language like, I can't do this. This is too hard.
Yeah, self-defeating language.
Self-defeating language. And jumping to worst case scenario even before it's even happened.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. So when my husband did his first hospital rotation, which is just, it's that 14-hour shift where it was so hard for him his first time, where he would come home and be like, I didn't think I was going to finish work today. Like I was starting to get to the point where I'm like, I think I might sleep at the hospital and I don't think I'm going to finish charting and I don't think I'm going to get enough sleep to pre-chart for tomorrow. So and I was just like, I don't think we're going to get through this. This is too hard. And if you talk to the wrong people, they're going to say, you're doing too much for your family. This is too much. You shouldn't be doing any of this. And, those aren't the people I needed to be talking to in those moments, because 24 hours go by, whether you're catastrophizing or not. So just be ready for the growth, because now we hit those rotations and it's literally a hurdle that we know exactly how to jump over.
Mm-hmm.
And, this is year 3 for us. And so, relatively not that long to kind of get in a groove, but I also feel like my spouse and I are like hitting almost a second honeymoon phase, because we're like, we are really feeling like the light at the end of the tunnel and we're like, we can do anything. Luckily for us, fellowship's like a hard no for him.
All right, let's talk about that light at the end of the tunnel, though. What are you looking forward to most about being done with training?
Okay, the words coming to mind are like freedom, ease. We will have more time with him, so more time, and maybe just routine.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's one of the hard things about residency is his schedule changes every 2 to 4 weeks. I'm like, if it was always hard, then we could schedule around that. Or if it was always less hard, we could schedule around that. But it's hard to get in a rhythm of, okay, your long days on Thursdays, but on Fridays, I could schedule this thing for either the child or for me to do. And it just hasn't happened because it's too hard to schedule around. So, yeah, I think those things.
Here's another question, because it just made me think of it. So a lot of residents are given the advice to live like a resident when they get their first job. Have you and your husband talked about your plans for what are you going to do?
Yeah. We have talked about it. And honestly, I don't really want for much. I joke that all I want is to live in a backyard where my kids can dig the biggest hole they want. And I'm not worried about what the landlord's going to say. We would potentially stay in our current rental. I don't think our landlady would kick us out, but it's like the best affordable housing. And I feel like it is unethical to stay here after training because our landlady is a nurse and she chooses to rent to residents. Because she's like, I know that rent is too high and you guys are a cohort who can't really afford it. So for the love of fellow residents, we will be moving, but I don't know where.
Okay, my heart just wanted to explode there. That is amazing. Because you don't live in a cheap area.
No.
But that's Katie for you. She's very selfless. She's like, somebody else needs this golden opportunity. I'll pass it on.
Yeah. For me, it would feel greedy to stay.
Okay.
So,
all right. So if anybody is moving to Washington and needs a rental, ask Katie.
There's a family who are a year behind us in residency.
Okay.
That she's like, we can have the place after you. I'm like, on a sticky note, I'm like, it's signed. The contract is signed. So we'll be passing it on to a fellow friend and family.
Okay. I've got one. We talk a bit about relationships and how the medical journey impacts your relationship. Can you identify any ways that either medical school or residency or the whole journey has impacted your relationship with your husband? For better or worse?
It's just like put your relationship on the end of a roaster and your relationship's the marshmallow. It's like put it against the fire and like what happens,
Yeah.
And I think there's a way to get that perfect s'more marshmallow and there's a way to roast it, and all of the above have happened. I can't help but be grateful for this like perfect learning ground for us. I think it's been wonderful. What is life if it's not hard and tough?
Yeah.
I don't know how to do anything but that.
That's some good training.
Yeah.
Because life isn't always easy. Even after you're done. The things that you think are hard, and it's like, yeah, that was hard, but there's still more hard to come.
Right. And I think our patterns of communication have just grown and developed and become more honest. I think the more honest we've been, even if it's not necessarily the easiest thing to receive, we have been with each other long enough now that it's like, I know this is out of love. Let me self-reflect. Let me get curious about this. Yeah, I feel really lucky. I have a really good spouse.
It's easy to think sometimes when you're on some of these groups that physicians don't make good husbands or they don't make good fathers. And it's always nice and refreshing to hear that, no, there's plenty of good ones around too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It's not so much the profession. It's the person and what you make of what you've been given. All right.
Yeah.
If you had to, thinking back on the last couple of years, what do you think is the best decision that you made that has made residency easier for your family?
I know that as I find joy in the journey and joy in my family, my kids, it definitely makes it easier for my spouse too. And I think that's probably something that he's really grateful for. I also want to say that the school that we've chosen for our kids has really built in a whole new community, which I wasn't quite expecting, but it's been so beautiful. And just, the feeling when your kids are taken care of and being taught in a way that you just feel really good about. I think that's been really helpful during residency. And then just staying present. Getting outside, staying present, that's just my key to a good life. The more I lean into that, it makes it easier for everyone, I think.
Okay, yeah, I think that's a perfect note to end on because I love what you just said. it really goes back to what we've been talking about through all of these episodes, is really being able to take care of yourself makes it so much easier for you to take care of your family, your husband, and to do hard things. But it's more difficult to do hard things when you're feeling isolated, lonely, depressed, sad, unfulfilled, unproductive. All right. Well, this has been super fun. Thank you so much for playing along and helping our listeners get to know you better.
Yes, you're welcome.
What a gift to sit down with Katie and really hear her story from start to now. I know so many of you will see yourselves in her experiences, the exhaustion, the growth, and the joy of finding community and hope in the middle of it all. If today's conversation resonated, share it with a friend or another physician spouse who might need the reminder that they're not alone. And we always love hearing your thoughts and questions. Send us a message on Instagram at Supporting Physician Spouses or email us at hello@supportingphysicianspouses.com. And don't miss our next episode. We'll be joined by Katie's husband, Dr. Talon Harris, for a candid conversation about residency from the physician's perspective, leadership, imposter syndrome, and what it really takes to build a marriage alongside medicine. Until then, thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time on Supporting Physician Spouses.